Hey everyone, Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker, greatest screenwriter in the history of the world, recovering hobo, looking, I guess, somewhat emaciated, especially with my longer hair now. Sorry if that bothers you. I've been dieting down, although just recently I had too much sourdough bread. By recently, I mean today. I got it from the farmer's market. Sesame bread, it was damn good, like JP Bakery, something like that. But I've been super busy lately. I've been writing a ton. I've been working on a screenplay. It's just like I've written over 1,000 pages in the last like 2.5 or 3 months, constantly reworking it, trying to find, what this story is. But anyways, I just thought I'd show you something fun I'm doing around comics. Been getting comics. So, well, that's not a comic book over there, but I didn't buy all these. These are from the library. So I'm trying to just broaden my knowledge or broaden my horizons. I guess is annoying as that cliche is, but I really like character-driven stuff. I don't know if this all is, but I like Batman. It's from Detective Comics. He's a detective. I want to see character stuff. I've read comics where it just goes into like 80s action movie cliches and it feels like teenage boy fantasies, and I'm like, guys, like this is you're getting all lost from the characters where like the most interesting thing will just be the intrigue of two characters talking for a few panels, and then it just goes into the most like clunky, awkwardly plotted action of people screaming and yeah, you go over there. Like, what you do that for, you fucking idiot? Like, didn't you know that? Like, it's just the weirdest stuff of like characters being way overly sarcastic, like it's supposed to be funny. Like, didn't you know in this future 300 years from now that everybody doesn't pay with money? You just rub your forehead into the stall and it takes your DNA. Duh, idiot. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a time traveler. I'm trying to whatever. Okay, so I just picked these up. They got some good reviews. Look, I read Batman Year One, and I have to say, guys, if you think that's well written, I'm not even putting it down. Really, I'm glad if people like it, you should like it. I have no argument. I'm just saying, if you think that's well written, you should see what they're writing in movies. It's incredible. Uh, but anyway, I do like Watchmen. I will say that I really like that, and I like Torso. Except I think the ending it gets a little bit like action movie, cliche. But got Batman Hush, Batman the Long Halloween. I was gonna say the Long Haul. Batman the Court of Owls saga, Dark Knight Returns, and then two Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips comics. So I read the first volume of Criminal. I thought it was pretty good. Like it was well connected, different stories. Um, your own enjoyment of it may vary, but so I just picked up these two, seeing both their names on there. And this just randomly Blade Runner 2019. I love the idea of reading sci-fi. I think a lot of sci-fi doesn't really pull off, what the genre's possibilities are. But shout out to Stanley Kubrick, 2001. And then they were giving this away free, like brothers Mark and Jay Duplass. So I'll put this away on my shelf about their experience in the film industry. And just wanted to keep things kind of light because I've been going through just racked with a lot of stuff that I don't even want to go into right now. It's just same stuff. If you look at my videos from recently, you'll see what it is. I want to keep it positive. Don't even want to dignify the stuff I went through, people subjected me to with attention right now. But been watching a lot of movies, been renting like 3 movies a week from the Alamo Draft House. I didn't even think to look at the DVDs at the library today. That's okay. I have 3 movies I got to see: Moonstruck, Mishima, Life in 4 Chapters, and Asphalt Jungle, or The Asphalt Jungle from John Huston. So it really helps to keep my movie literacy up, literally, and learn from movies and be aware of like what they do. I think that works and what doesn't. Also, I'm reading right now. This book is brutal. Bastard Out of Carolina. It is so well written. Like the language is amazing. Man, it gets dark. I am like 40 pages into it or something. It gets dark. It's told from the point of view of this child who's parents were unwed, and the dad wasn't around for the birth certificate, hence the title, Bastard Out of Carolina. I guess it's based on Dorothy Allison, the author's own experiences, having a 15-year-old, born to a 15-year-old mother. Man, and she just, the character, Bone, in the story, she's nicknamed Bone, she describes like her family life and the abuse she goes through, but from a child's point of view. Whoa, man. Okay. Like, yeah, what do I even say? Can't, but it's so well written. So I'll give it that. And like, it's interesting. Normally I just want to read like spy and detective stories, but I picked that up free too a while ago, and just trying to go through some other books I have. But also I want to ask you if you have detective comics that you not just detective, comic books you recommend. Let me know. Again, I'll say some I've read. I don't even want to put any down. Like, why? Like, the writers tried really hard. They clearly must love what they're doing. And it's a struggle to get these made. They're a ton of work, and it's easy to just judge them. So I'm just saying, generally what I've noticed is, well, I did mention Batman Year One. Just the mechanics of the action get kind of like, almost like no limits to what can happen, and just absurd, like over the top, like Batman gets shot twice and he can still kick down a tree, like kick a tree in half. And it's like kind of fine. Like if you're saying like, oh, Angelo, why are you nitpicking? It's fine. Like totally fair. If you enjoy it, like I'm not against anyone enjoying it. Like I celebrate it. I'm glad you like it. And let people enjoy it. I'm not trying to like, keep anyone from enjoying it. I'm just saying for me, the most intriguing thing was like a few panels of Gordon and Harvey Dent talking in it. I'm like, oh, because we're getting some character coming out, and this like tension of who's going to win this discussion that, the story shifts focus from. But Watchmen I thought was really good. Torso, again, at the end, I was like, oh, it just devolves into a shootout at the end. Not hating on what anyone did. I'm like, it's hard writing. If you, just heard me say, I've written over 1,000 pages working on this story, and it's not even like what I have designed so far. I don't even think it's going to be something people, or I don't even want to judge it one way or the other. It's just, I know I want to do more with it. So I'm still working on it because I think it could be much more compelling and deeper and simplified. So when I say people putting these complex mechanics, the stories and the action, it's like, wait, they did this, they backflipped here and jumped through a vent, and then like in Batman Year One, all of a sudden just a helicopter with bombs comes and tries to bomb a building with Batman. It's like, whoa, slow down. Like, give us a little more like detail as to why it's happening. If people enjoy it, I'm not saying there's any reason they shouldn't enjoy it. So just to be clear to all the comic nerds, hey, I'm in solidarity. But anyway, so if you have comic recommendations, I tried reading one. I didn't realize it was like a young adult comic. Not putting that down. I'm just saying, like, when I was getting into it, I was like, oh, this must be really exciting for people about this age, like young teenagers who are into seeing young people hang out and stuff. It wasn't for me. I was like, oh, that's what this is. Like, close the book. I don't even like to insult it, because I'm like, they clearly loved what they were writing and felt strongly about it, and it seemed to have a good message and all. I just didn't feel it was for me. They have a bunch of the Hellboy comics at the library, so I definitely want to get those. I've heard Saga is great. Don't really know much about it, but I want to get. They have a bunch of volumes of those. So let me know. I finally finished John le Carré's A Perfect Spy a few weeks ago. I thought it was pretty, like, fairly good, but it veers way too long into this spy's backstory with his con artist father, which must have been compelling to John le Carré, whose dad was a con artist. But I was like, the stuff with the spy stuff was by far the most interesting to me. And when basically it's about a spy, Magnus Pym, who, when his dad dies, he just disappears. And the British spy intelligence, or the spy services or intelligence agency, all his colleagues and bosses there are like very worried and panicked. and they're questioning his wife, and the questions seem so absurd. They're asking like, well, when was the last time you saw him? She's like, oh, he walked out, like, he told me his dad died. He was going to go take a walk at night. He grabbed a newspaper and left. They're like, what newspaper did he grab? And she's like getting so frustrated. She's like, oh, for God's sake, it was like whatever, the Times, something. And they're like, what day was it? Like, was it that day's paper or what? She's like, I remember it was 3 days old. How do you know that? Did he always take a 3-day-old paper out? And she's getting so frustrated, but she kind of knows she's got to cover for something. Like, it's hinted that she planned this. And this guy, the names are kind of silly too. Jack Brotherhood, and there's like Makepeace Watermaster or something. But Brotherhood says like, when did he walk out with a newspaper like this? Did he always do it? Like, did he do it on the third Wednesday of the month? Whenever you two fought each other? Whenever somebody died? When? And it just goes on. And then, but it gets so intriguing the way he's asking specifically, like, you know, he's panicked about something very specific. And unfortunately, the book doesn't quite deliver on the specifics. It keeps things kind of broad about the potential. I won't spoil it, but what Magnus Pym may be doing. And they're worried that he's defected to another country and that he's secretly been a double agent for years. I will say the story has twists that you do not see coming, you don't expect, that are very good, but they keep them kind of broad in the distance. It doesn't get into the spy stuff so much. It's more about this guy's relationship with his dad. But Brotherhood even asked, did he bring the newspaper home? Like, what happened? And she's like, or he left, I guess, with it, but I forget exactly all the details, but he even asked like, what did he do with the newspaper? She's like, well, he curled it up under his arm. And he's like, did he always curl it up under his arm? And she's like, for God's sake, Jack, like, stop it. And they're like, you're not getting out of questioning on this. Like, we have to know everything about him, because whatever he was doing, he may be defecting to another country, and he's got major British secrets. But again, it kind of drops away from that, when that, to me, was by far the most compelling thing about it. Also, I noticed John le Carré in his books that are not about, like, George Smiley, at least the ones I've read so far, the George Smiley ones seem fairly to the point. They meander a little bit, but like the Night Manager in this one, man, he repeats stuff, and like, it's just because it's like interesting as a writer to say like this character's name like 10 times, like alliteratively. Like the character's name is like some caretaker from Magnus Pym's childhood, Rebecca or something. And it says like Rebecca the Wonderful, who laid out towels for him. The Rebecca who would make his eggs Sunday morning over easy. The Rebecca who steamed his towels as well. The Rebecca who would take him on Sunday strolls. The Rebecca who helped him with his math homework when his father was... The Rebecca... And there's no point to it. It's like just fun to write. I'm like, come on, man. Like, that's... like, it's just you noodling and doodling with these characters' names. Like it's evocative for you. It does nothing for me, at least, to see this, like, somebody's name mentioned, repeated 10 times. Like, wow, that's such a great description. Like, I don't care. Michael Mann and Meg Gardner's Heat moves so fast. It's almost like a script, and that is by far like the most magnetic and compelling thriller I've ever read, which, to be fair, I've not read many thrillers. I've only gotten into books somewhat lately, and I think, Mann's screenwriting experience helped with that, because it just moves so quickly. And then Meg Gardner, a thriller writer, I guess, or detective story writer, must have helped a lot too, or been a big part of the shaping that, I'm sure. So anyways, enough about books. Just trying to, be well. Like, again, cutting on my diet some. This bread, I had too much sourdough bread. It was damn good, but I was hungry. I biked like 14 miles this morning. And again, doing lots of writing. What I've discovered lately, I really like writing by hand, making lots of notes by hand, and trying to be specific and not just veer off into writing a lot of stuff just to have pages, but like just being specific about answering questions that I need answered to both satisfy what's like intuitively or instinctively interesting to me, but also what's going to make for a compelling story, and like, combining those things, integrating them. And been starting to find that more with writing pages by hand and journaling as the characters themselves, recounting their stories in first person. That just helps me a lot, because if I just write about characters, it's like all these side characters, what comes naturally to me is I don't care about them. I'm just like, I need them to perfunctorily do these things. But I realize I'm losing opportunities when I'm not interested in them. And I have these characters that are like potentially close to the main character. I'm like, oh, I didn't even utilize them for how they could reflect on this story and make it deeper and more meaningful. So, been doing a lot of that, and it's just going quickly. It's, anyways, it's a whole process. So, uh, anyways, I took a nap today too. Damn tired, having trouble sleeping. Again, stuff's been giving me some grief lately, but I'm trying to do well, be present, and realize, through all the stuff I went through, I kept my dignity as best I could. You really don't have much of a choice when you're dealing with situations I was in. Again, look at my recent videos. Even if you're looking at this later, you kind of see a theme in some of them, what I went through. And I'm going to, oh my legs, put some of these comics back in order. That's not a comic, that's just a book. Yeah, gonna get going, do some more writing, reading, trying to eat super healthy, save money on groceries, buy less prepackaged meals, and just more, chicken, salmon, tuna, and sardines. All right, everybody, just wanted to make that kind of fun. Thanks for watching. Bye.